So at this point, I think it's pretty safe to say that Rachel Zegler is the world's new Mindy Kaling. Do you guys remember how united the world was when Mindy Kaling came out with Velma, right? Do you guys remember that? I remember it because it was pretty damn fantastic. But Rachel Zegler is uniting the world in their dislike for this woman. This woman is trying to be numero uno in most hated woman in Hollywood. To the point where you have former Disney employees who actually were involved with the original animated film of Snow White, basically saying that this movie is an absolute disgrace, and the fact that it's even happening, and the fact that Rachel's even talking the way she is a very disgraceful thing. Now, what am I talking about? Well, we have an article here from Game Rant that has a headline that says, Rachel Zegler's Snow White remake is called a disgrace by former Disney employee. Rachel Zegler's Snow White remake received criticism from David Hand, a former Disney designer with ties to the original animated movie. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, it is pretty brutal. It is absolutely brutal what's going on with Rachel Zegler. And you know what? She deserves every single bit of it. She tries to do this whole victim narrative about how everybody's against her, how people need to be kinder, people need to treat other people better, and yet she's the first one to throw stones at anybody she doesn't like if they don't have pronouns in their bio. So let's get into this article, guys, from Game Rant. And of course, before we do, just consider hitting the subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. So it says, it appears some Disney alumni are not fans of Rachel Zegler's upcoming Snow White remake, as former Disney designer David Hand spoke out against the film, going as far as calling it a disgrace and saying this remake shows a lack of respect for the original Disney animators. Hand, who had family ties to the original Disney film, criticized the company for what they've done to the characters, believing that the changes to the story and the characters in the Snow White remake insult the original film. He even added that those who run Disney now don't have respect for what their predecessors did. And you know what? Bro, we talk about that all the time. They don't have respect for what originally came before them. All the people who are at Disney right now, they don't give a crap about anybody who was in the original Disney films or who made the original Disney films. They don't care. They actively show their hatred for those works. Like, they show it on, Rachel Zegler shows it all the time. She talks about how, oh, it's not 1937 anymore. It's not, she's not going to be saved by the prince. This, that, and the third. She's a strong, independent woman. She needs no man. It's very obvious that modern day identity politics takes precedence over what actually came before them. The only thing that these people enjoy about the original IPs is how much clout comes with those IPs. This is why they remake instead of recreate. Like, they don't create anything. They just remake stuff because they don't have the clout or the skill necessary to make something that people are actually going to enjoy for decades to come. They don't have that level of skill. So they have to remake what already has clout and then subvert expectations and try to create something that's meant for modern audiences, whatever the hell that means. So it says, Han explained why he doesn't like the upcoming reboot of the 1937 Snow White while talking with The Telegraph. It's a whole different concept, and I just totally disagree with it. And I know my dad and Walt would also very much disagree with it, Han said. He also called the film a disgrace because Disney is trying to do something new with something that was such a great success earlier. Their thoughts are just so radical now. They changed the stories, they changed the thought processes of the characters. Han explained why he doesn't like the changes. They're making up new woke things, and I'm just not into any of that. I find it quite frankly a bit insulting what they may have done with some of these classic films. There's no respect for what Disney did and what my dad did. I think Walt and he would be turning in their graves. And honestly, I agree with that. I mean, there's a lot of people that do not like Walt Disney for whatever reason. They don't like him. They don't like what he stood for. They obviously don't like his ideology. Everything about the original films, they don't like it. They want to change everything. They don't like this over here on the right. They want to change it over here on the left because that is what Disney's ideology is about now. They're trying to push radical gender ideology. They're trying to push radical identity politics. They are not a company for the family unit anymore. They have stopped being a company for the family unit for years now. Almost a decade, I would even argue at this point. They have made their vision very clear. They're trying to tell you throughout many different movies and TV shows what their idea is and what their ideology is, and they're going to do it no matter what. They don't care how much money they lose. Disney does not care how much money they lose because they have all the money in the world from the people who came before them, which again is even more insulting that they don't respect what came before them, because not only are they using the clout of the movies that came before them because they can't create anything, but they're also using the money that was made from that previous previous iteration of people who worked at Disney. So they're trying to make old money into new money, but really they don't care about that. They're going to take that old money and they're going to run with the message as long as they possibly can, because they know that they have money to burn for many, many years to come, and they're going to do it. They don't care. People keep going to their theme parks. People keep spending exorbitant amount of money at the theme parks, and that's what subsidizes all this other nonsense that you have to deal with. So it says Han was a designer for Disney during the 1990s, and his father was one of the directors on the original Snow White film in 1937. He is part of the crowd that holds the revolutionary animated classic so dear, knowing the film's impact on the industry and how Disney turned into the animation powerhouse and monopoly it is today. He's not a fan of a modern remake potentially tarnishing that legacy. Han is entitled to his opinion, and he isn't the only one who feels this way. But whether this upcoming Snow White remake is good or not, it shouldn't affect how Disney fans see the animated versions of them. A lot, not all, of these Disney live-action remakes have been lazily made because they are essentially shot-for-shot the same movies, only this time they are live-action. Not to mention, they are shameless cash grabs. However, if those who watch them come out thinking they're bad, it just serves as a reminder of how good the originals were to begin with. And I can understand that argument, and I get that argument, but here's the problem. A lot of people who grew up on these movies, it shaped their worldview for a lot of different things. It helped them realize certain aspects of their lives, and you'd be surprised just how good these movies are at reaching people. So when you come out with these soulless remakes, these live-action remakes that are unfortunately what these young kids of today are going to have to watch, because I'll be honest with you, these parents are not telling them to go watch the original animated films unless they are parents who adore the originals and want those kids to be able to see it. But if you're going to have a bunch of woke parents who specifically want you to go see The Little Black Mermaid because she's black and that's it, that's going to lead a lot of little kids to thinking this is the only version of Little Mermaid there is, or whatever other version of the live action remake they might come out with. Like there are a lot of parents out there that are going to force these particular live actions on their kids and not have them view the original movies, because they know that those original movies are not only superior, but they have an actual good message in most of them that a lot of people would resonate with. And these wokies do not want their little kids to wake up and see the world for what it really is. They want them to live in oppression because that's what they think. These identity politics games, they get played by the parents just as much as they get played by everybody at Disney. And unfortunately, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. If you have a woke, crazy parent, chances are the kid is going to be either messed up in the head or also a woke, crazy kid that will eventually turn into a woke, crazy adult, which is what a lot of these companies want, which is why they spend so much money and burn so much money to push the message every single day that they can. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.